This is how to draw in the balusters or spindles in between the toe rail and the handrail. First thing to do is to measure the space in between. For this, you probably have to get the right view so that I can draw a line or use the tape measure. So if I get a view where I can look underneath the handrail, I can hit L for line, and I can just take a line from any point on the bottom of that. Hit the up arrow key so I go straight down and touch that. And then I look in the dimension box in the bottom right hand corner of the screen. I see 2 foot 3 1/4. I have to check and make sure yours is the same number, but whatever it is, probably a good idea to jot it down. 2 feet 3, so that's 24 plus 3, 27 1/4. So 2 foot 3 is 27.25. So I can draw a rectangle. There's the right arrow key, there's the left arrow key. I think I'll use that. And then I'm just going to pull it up. I'm looking in the dimension box and I see that the bigger number is second, so that's the height. So I'm going to say 0.75, comma, 27.25. At least I think that was the number. Oops. So now we have to set up to do a follow me. I'm just double checking my number. Yep, 27.25. So the setup for follow me is always to take a tape line and double click on some random point on here so you get a tape line happening. And C for circle. I'm going to hit the up arrow key so it's drawing flat on the ground plane and drag it out. You always want to drag it out on an axis. In this case, I'm pulling it out on red. Doesn't really matter how big it is. And that sets us up to do the follow me. And the key to doing, I think, good balusters is to do very slight changes in it. Because this is going to revolve around itself when I do the follow me. So this is a matter of, I could use a line or the arc tool, but I'm not going to go in very much at all because anything I do in here is going to get doubled up. Even something simple like that, like an angle at the bottom, an angle at the top. I'm going to erase this line. And then I'm just going to try it out. Select that's the follow me path. That's the path that it's going to follow. Reach over and select the follow me tool. And click on the profile. And I tend to undo that. And I could make changes, like I could just even grab that line and move it straight up if I want this to be bigger. We could add on, usually I would suggest like a small arc or a circle. And just to demonstrate this, I'm going to put in 2 of them. If I want it to bulge out, I'm going to erase that. If I want it to dig in, I'm going to do that. I'll try it out now. Select the path, go to follow me. Not bad. You want to make really small, slight changes in these things, otherwise you'll get a very thin baluster that will not look good. You could also, as long as you move straight up, I could grab these lines in here. A little hard to see that it's selected, but I could move a copy up. As long as I hit the up arrow key and go straight up. And I could even hit, X2, enter to make 2 copies. It didn't fill that in, so I'm going to have to take a line and redraw this line. I filled that in. And this is going to be probably a little weird looking, but so you have to erase out all these so it's one continuous path. or one continuous solid shape. Same thing, select the follow me, select the path, go to follow me, and click on the profile. It is sometimes possible to grab an area like that and move it up, but it may be a problem on this one because if I do M-Alt and move a copy up, it's not going to create the interior parts because it's sliding that up past solid. I might be able to come in and delete these pieces. That works. Depends on the shape of your baluster. The last thing to do is to grab this and select the whole thing. I'm dragging from left to right and make it a component. That way, if you paint one, it'll paint all of them. If you alter one, it will alter all of them. If for any reason, I mean, this could be drawn really big. Sometimes it's good to draw big to create detail. If it was not the right size, let's say I'm going to hit S to scale this up just to purposely make it the wrong size, and I grab a corner handle. If it was not the right size, I could go in here and measure the space, so it was whatever, 27.25. The way to scale this is to get inside this and draw a line straight out, doesn't matter how far, and then hit the up arrow key, go straight down and touch the bottom so it lines up with the bottom. And then scale it. You have to be inside the group or the component to do this. This is a component, so as long as I have this, I can hit T for the tape, click on the top point of the line, click. And as soon as I click on this bottom point, click, I'm going to type in the size, 27.25, enter. And it says, do you want to resize this group or component? Yes, we do. If it ever says resize the model, cancel out, bail out, because that's why it has to be done in a group or a component. Tell it OK. And now it measured the line. It forced the line to be that height, which also forced the baluster to be that height. And at this point, I can just go back in and erase the lines, and it is scaled to size. The last thing I'm going to do spacing on this is draw a line down the center of the toe rail. And depending on the spacing I want here, I might want to set this baluster up on it. It's also good on this baluster just to be able to grab a hold of it, just to get into this component. I'm going to draw a line and see if I can find the center. It's kind of being a pain. If you drew this on the axis, one reason it's important to draw this on the axis is, I believe, from an outermost point on green, there it is, there's that. That's not on green, so I know I'm going from the outermost point here this way, and that gives me a center point. And I'm going to go straight up, maybe about 5 inches. That was weird. Try that again, straight up in the air, 5. And that gives me something to kind of drag it around and line it up. I might even do that to the bottom too. I could even take a line from this and go right through it, hit the up arrow key and go right through it like that and just come way down here. Don't need that anymore. And what's good about that is, and I can delete those lines later, it's much easier to line up point to point on this. I can line the bottom of this up with my center line. So I might take this over here and just even line it up by eye and see what looks good. Get approximate spacing on this. Let's say I move this over. Get it about where I think it looks good. And then I'm going to move it up. The reason I move it up is now I can take that line that's there and I can put it on the center line. I can move it from that point. So now I know it's centered on that. and this is doing this kind of spacing by eye. Then I'm going to take this line, if I can get a hold of it, select that line, right-click and hit divide. Where is it? It's in here somewhere. No, there's the line. Come on. I could even hide. Well, yeah, I could even hide this, but click on the line, right-click and hit divide. You can start to drag out these divisions like this, and what I want to do is just pull out like this until I get really pretty close to where I want that to be. So I think I'll put it there. So it says there's how about 22 segments to there. And when I click that in, it actually did divide it up. It's hard to see, but here's a piece that I could delete. So it's not obvious that it divided it, but now I'm going to grab this. I'm going to grab this line and stick it to that point. So now it's lined up, and I think I'll do, let's do it this. M-Alt to move a copy. We'll move a copy of this from here over to here. It said 22 divisions. This is always kind of a weird thing. I already have one, so I'm gonna click this in and say times 21. That was actually still one too many. So I'll get rid of it. Grab all these, grab this one, and hold down Shift so I can add in this one and this one. Get all these guys selected. Might even be able to do it like this. Just drag a box like that. Because those are the only things completely in there. Make it a group that contains all these components. And then I can move it straight down. Grab any bottom point, move it straight down, touch that surface. There's my balusters. And then grab the group, cut it out. Command X for me, but usually on a Chromebook, probably Control X. Or you could right click and hit cut on the scissors. Get inside your component, right click and use paste in place. And I could come back in, edit any one of these components. Just click on it 9 million times until I get dots. And then I could erase this line. E for erase, drag through that. And if I can see the one on the bottom, drag through that. And I've got balusters. That pole that was put in there is too high. It's just put in random height. Too high is fine. It gets brought down later. Balusters, spindles.